All right, we're back with more right here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani with you alongside Tim Benz, and he's on the showdown tonight along with Ron Cook and Josh Yohe. We get into some Penguin talk as well as they won a game last night impressively over a bad Columbus team, it would appear, 7-2. Pitt with a tremendous win last night, even though they almost handed it right back to Duke, but that's one they certainly needed. But we're here mostly talking about the Steelers. And Tim, before we do anything else, I want to get your take on the quarterback situation, because Devlin Hodges did show, and he showed it in the preseason, which is why I think they had interest in him in the first place, that he could come up here, not be intimidated by the stage at all. He looked like he was up to the challenge.
His best quality is that he doesn't give a bleep. Late enough for me to swear on live television?
Well, you can bleep as
He
good.
Doesn't give a crap.
You can take bleep. Crap is fine, too.
And he is, that's his best quality. He is not intimidated. He's not scared. He plays that way. His attitude is that way. The team fed off of it. He ran. He scrambled. He slings it. And my goodness, were the windows open today for the quarterbacks, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are the largest windows that I've seen any of the quarterbacks have to throw into. And it started with Rudolph in, well, I'd say the drive or two before he got hurt. There was a lot of space to throw for a change.
21 yards to James Washington. He made a nice route. Boom, it was open.
And that was encouraging. Not only was that encouraging, it also made me question why they bothered wasting time with the Wildcat again today, because I was 100% prepared to see the Wildcat only put in intermittently if they had the lead, if they were playing ahead comfortably. But, boy, the Ravens looked like they expected it, and they were not fooled at all.
No, and they got it right off the bat with a Jalen Samuels pass. He should not have been in that position to begin with. If you're in doubt, don't throw it. Unlike last week when he kind of shovel passed or almost handed off and got credit for a forward pass. This was a pass, and he put it in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And he got stuffed on it. They stayed with it. He got stuffed with it later.
Yeah, just they lost 5 yards, I think it was, on that play.
And previously they tried a jet sweep before the Samuels pass, and they did a double fake jet sweep, and that turned into a botched
Just let Rudolph throw the ball. He proved he can do it, and that's what his calling card really is. Let's go out to Bernie in Bethel Park. What's up, Bernie? How are you?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a comment maybe about the decision to defer that kick in the overtime. In my opinion, if you take the first possession of the ball and you give it up in 3 downs and you have to kick it away, then the other team, perhaps, they don't go the distance, and you're going to get the ball twice at least within 10 minutes, because it's only a 10-minute period. So I'm thinking that at least you have more opportunities to get the ball back. You have probably at least 2 opportunities to score, as opposed to
that's another. I hear what you're saying.
You only have one time.
Right.
And with Tomlin saying that basically the reason why they did that is because of how the guy was kicking the ball, I think any team to do the safety thing is just to kick it in the end zone and let the guy get it on the 25. I think most teams would do that. They wouldn't want to take a chance for a run back in overtime.
Well, the Steelers don't have any threat of that right now. That's their problem. And it was unusual that Mike Tomlin came out so adamantly against his own special teams, but that's pretty much what he did. And I agree with you, Bernie. You get more possessions theoretically, but also more than anything else to me, one botched play, one defender slips, one play that goes for the distance, you're done. And I don't want to. The last thing I would want is to be in a situation where I guarantee myself not touching the ball. And I think you afforded them that opportunity. And I would say this with anyone. My call would always be, no matter what the situation, no matter who the team, I'm going to take the ball first in overtime because I want to have the chance to end it that way, too.
Yeah, I mean, we can do the butterfly effect thing here. Are we guaranteeing that Juju Smith-Schuster fumbles the football if they get the ball first? How can you guarantee that?
Right.
And if that's the biggest reason why they lost, because of the fumble, how are you guaranteeing that happens if they get the ball first?
No, that's all part of what we do here. We talk about these plays and debate them. Let's go to David in the South Side. What's up, David?
Yeah, all right. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I just wanted to make a comment. I remember years ago they used to say, don't try to tackle Big Ben. Go for the ball. That's what they're doing with Schuster and Connor. Schuster will run over you. He's strong. He's quick. That's what they're doing. And they also know that Schuster and Connor has a little fumbleitis problem. So if they don't correct that problem, they're going to be in for a long career.
Well, yeah, also because they were cognizant of it. Juju Smith-Schuster said repeatedly in the locker room he was aware that that's what Humphrey likes to do, and that's something that Humphrey was doing all day specifically against him and against Steeler receivers, and it still happened.
You saw the touchdown, the 35-yarder to Juju Smith-Schuster. He went after it there, too. He punched it and missed. you know, the thing is, you got to be more than anything else in that point as the receiver. You have to be aware of what the defenses are doing, trying to do.
Right.
If you're the runner, you see James Conner now really go after and cradle that ball. Sometimes I think it takes away from his explosiveness.
And you made a point earlier about the similarities in that regard to the San Francisco game because of how Conner fumbled. Another similarity to the San Francisco game was how little the offense did to capitalize on the defense getting the football back. Twice before, Devlin Hodges led the touchdown drive, which, by the way, was aided by 30 yards of penalties. But the two previous times, I believe they had the possession on the 25 and the 16-yard line after interceptions of Lamar Jackson.
Right.
And they only got 6 points out of 2 turnovers late in the second quarter. And, Bob, one of those drives was for -7 yards.
Yep.
They got the ball back, and they went backwards 7 yards.
Well, that's where the one time they let clock run off, they had a timeout, and they never used it, and they could have used it immediately when Jalen Samuels couldn't get out back to the huddle in time. Let's go to Bob in Indiana. What's up, Bob? How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Thanks for taking my call, Bob.
Sure.
Hey, question. On the one play where the Steelers got called for roughing the passer, you know, to me that looked like a textbook tackle. A guy going around the knees, down his ankles. Is there something that happened?
It was a terrible
there?
call. It was a terrible
awful.
call, and you can't hit quarterbacks anywhere anymore.
No.
He went at his waist.
I mean, he did not go to the knees.
And then he
went
tried
above.
to support the knees. He tried to help the guy on the way down.
And the other thing I'll tell you is look where the ball is in Lamar Jackson's hand. He still had it in his hand. He was just really. So what is Ola supposed to do?
It's
Wait?
not low. It's not late. And what if he goes higher? You know what happens? The same thing happens to Lamar Jackson that does Mason Rudolph. Now, I'm not saying he gets knocked out,
Right.
but I'm saying the crown of the helmet hits because what is always not taken into effect by these blind referees is that when you hit somebody, particularly when you're a larger linebacker, pass rusher, hitting a smaller quarterback in the chest, your head is going to concuss and come down. That's kind of what happened to Rudolph, and that would have happened to Jackson if Ola had gone higher. Then you get a helmet-to-helmet. There is no, like Ola used the phrase strike zone today when talking about it. There is no strike zone.
No.
It doesn't exist.
There is nowhere to go. You can't do it, and even if you're trying to make a play, I thought there was a roughing the passer call against Rudolph by Pierce of Baltimore. And okay, you're going to make with your hands. If you're trying to bat down a ball, your hand invariably will hit you. It graze your face, do something. That's not roughing the passer, but they're trying to protect it at all costs.
Right.
Except, you know, when you get hit in the jaw and there's no flag. And you're knocked out like Mason Rudolph. And I want you to go back, if you watch that game on DVR, you tell me if I'm wrong. That flag did not appear until long after, until he lay motionless. Either you call that or you don't, and obviously they missed it. And then they threw the flag anyway.
Bob, they didn't throw that flag until they realized the cart was broken at the 20-yard line. The other one, do you really think they throw that flag on Stephon Tuitt unless the photographer gets run over?
Interesting.
No, the answer is no, they don't. Stephon Tuitt got a 15-yard penalty for roughing the photographer today. Understand that.
Tony, Dave, Pete, Waylon, and Moose. We'll get your calls next right here live on Pittsburgh CW.